My name is Bruce, and today with me is my friend Janet. She's over here. To gesture to the left because that's where Janet is. Okay, so Janet, we watched a movie that kind of has a special place in my heart. This is almost as much of a piece of nostalgia for me as the Gamers Part Two: Darkness Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is Fanboys from 2008. Some say 2009. It's supposed to be released in 2006, but delay. Part of it being Harvey fucking Weinstein.
Yeah, I
Uh,
did find a little bit of trivia about him.
yeah, the original cut was a little bit more coarse. This one here has been sanitized a bit. They almost got rid of everything referring to cancer in this movie.
Yeah, that's
And
part of the thing that I found.
then towards the very end, they added that back in because at the time there was going to be a huge backlash to another Harvey Weinstein film coming out, and he couldn't have that. He couldn't have that. So they installed that back in, and this is a very fine movie. Crafting Gamer and Lloyd Christmas, how you two doing today? By the way, today's beer of the day is Oktoberfest Fest beer from Sierra Nevada. Don't drink it after November 1st. There's an aftertaste.
I don't understand.
It's a beer, and they have an aftertaste. That's the joke. Um,
Okay,
this
I don't drink beer.
well,
Oh, wine.
I found some mead. I found two really good varieties of mead nearby. One at HEB, one at a small shop, and I was really happy with that. Uh, Fate of the Gods is the name of the mead. If you like wildflower honey being put in your mead, Fate of the Gods is amazing. Um, this movie, Fanboys, kind of a different film. It really is not the movie that a lot of people thought it would be,
Mm-mm.
and I was surprised by it on a lot of attempts. It seemed like it was poking fun at Hollywood, and the more that it got going, the more it seemed like Hollywood said we've got to be part of this, and so you have all these cameos from various people throughout the industry. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, you've got the William Shatner, and I think they always had that in mind. But when they added Danny Trejo in this movie, I think that was when it crossed the line from little bitty independent film to this is a big movie.
Well, putting William Shatner in it made it a big movie for me.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't because William Shatner has always had his own fandom. He's always had his own sect of the parcel of sci-fi fans that think he's one of the best, if not the best, authority figure in the universe. And there's people that will still tell you to this day, Shatner over Picard. I believe that. I hate Picard. I think Picard's Britishness. I don't think he's gay, but I just think he's.
I thought Picard did a great job in the part that he was portraying for Star Trek. I mean, I like all the people
I
that
hate
they
him.
chose for the different things. I have no problems with that. But nobody can be William Shatner except the fans from Star Trek Continues. They did a great job of portraying the different characters to close the gap between the last episode to the first movie. They did a phenomenal job because they cared about it.
I like a lot of Star Trek. It takes a lot for me to want to watch Star Trek's Next Generation first and second season.
Mm-hmm.
Those are hard for me. I can't. It just doesn't work for me. I want it to be. I want it to be awesome, but Next Generation just fails for me so much. Anyway, this is a neat little movie, and as time went on, they added more and more cameos. Eventually, you got Jay and Silent Bob characters in there. The Jason Mewes, there's Ethan Suplee. Uh, there's a lot of people that were not really set to be in this film. Eventually, Danny McBride got into it, And then you have, of course, who's the guy that played Darth Maul?
He
Anyway,
also played Toad in X-Men.
yeah, Toad and X-Men, and we're
Yeah,
both.
that's how I remembered him.
I'm blanking on his name right now. I
I can't remember his name either. I'm terrible, but I'm sure someone in the chat would probably know.
Ray Park.
Yeah, I'm opening the chat so I can see it.
And I mean, eventually, Hollywood got a hold of this movie, and they're like, there's a lot that we kind of owe this little sect of nerds. We owe them something, and so you had like guys like the THX security guards. You have Ray Park, Chuck Borden, and Peter Reiner in it. You have Kevin Smith making a kind of a funny little 30-second appearance. Carrie Fisher in this movie as a doctor kind of surprised me. Although Judge Reinhold, that probably made me laugh the hardest because I thought it was a guy from Beverly Hills Cop that they were going to show. No, it's Billy D. Williams.
I thought they did a good job putting the different characters in, and I loved I clapped my hands. I was so happy when the young man who's been diagnosed with cancer decides to be broke out of the hospital, and she meets him at the nurse's desk and tells him, instead of telling him he can't go because she knows how ill he is, she just gives him some pain medicine, and he gets to give her a kiss. So the fact that he got to kiss Leia, Princess Leia, in front of all those people on set and everything, I just loved it. And the fact that she was willing to do that for this movie was wonderful, because to me, that's why people pay to go see these people. Why they worship some of their characters, like me, I was chomping at the bit to get to meet William Shatner, and it was only for a few minutes. It was very short amount of time, but I've talked about it hundreds of times since, just from that thing, because of who he represents for me, I just thought it was great. I loved it. I didn't know if I would like it because I'm not a big, I like Star Wars, the original Star Wars. I loved it. I loved the story. I loved Darth Vader, the actor that played Darth Vader, different things like that, and the Wookiees and things like that. But I can't help it. My dad introduced me to Star Trek, and I'm a big Trekkie. So I loved Star Trek, the original series, and that won't ever change. I mean, I'm going to die a Trekkie, and I'm proud. I wear it as a badge of honor, basically. But I love the portrayal of the nerds in this movie. To me, there was so much realism of whoever wrote the script. They definitely knew what they were talking about. They knew it from the fans' point of view. They knew it seemed to me as a nerd's point of view. The way that they reacted to it wasn't a comic book shop, but it was a video store, which they don't have. You don't have those anymore. So that dated it. But you could have swapped that today, this whole script, and make it into a comic book shop, and it would fit right in. You know what I mean? Even though it's really hard to find a comic book shop today, because it's sad to say that, but people don't really buy as many comic books anymore because the newer stuff is not like it used to be, at least to a lot of people. And also same thing with movies, just like Star Wars, like you were mentioning, those type of things have just kind of fallen to the wayside because it becomes so woke, and they're not what a lot of us love. And that's why I think cons are so popular, any of these things where people can go, just like, the different, don't they have like cons for gaming, for, for DD, Pathfinder, and stuff like that?
I'm very familiar with these, yes.
So, and I'm sure they're very popular. Some of these festivals where I've went a couple times are Renaissance festivals where you dress up and you just run around and act like, you live in Robin Hood times. It's a lot of fun. So, there's plenty of things to do if you know the right people to go do it and hang out with other people that have the same nerddom as you. You know what I mean? So I loved it. I loved it that part of it. I loved being pulled into this movie because I am in that realm, and I felt like it was a movie made for me to entertain me, people like me. That makes it.
Travis, how you doing, sir?
But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. Oh, and you all right, Bruce?
Nope,
Oh,
I'm fine. Had
okay.
people
Well,
mention the light reflecting off my head, so we'll get into some things here just real quick. I do want to show that this movie had some fans among a lot of Hollywood,
mhm.
and one of the things is just the poster board for it.
Yeah.
Never tell them the odds. Fanboys into theaters, it will come. And this was kind of a poke at itself because this was a movie delayed by 3 fucking years. And
Mhm.
of course, this right here is making fun of this,
Yeah.
implying
I
that
think
all of
they
us.
talked about that a lot in many, many parts, especially the interview at the very end where they determined whether or not they were really did it for the right reason when they broke in to
Mhm.
Luke Skywalker's home and everything to try to get in there to see, if they could get the movie or whatever and see it. But the thing when they all basically passed by not knowing anything about women's areolas and things
And
like
then
that,
of
but
course,
they knew all about every nook and cranny about Star Wars. It's what I told you. It reminded me a lot of Galaxy Quest. The whole trivia behind nerds and what they love. Like you have certain ones that love certain comic books, and then you have ones that love certain movies or other, things like that. So I just thought it was really funny. The pokes at people for being nerds because they couldn't get laid because they're oblivious to sex or whatever. I don't know what it was, but I just thought that was hilarious. I like that point of view that
the
they shared that.
the character played by Zoe Bell or by Christian Bell. I keep calling her Zoe Bell. Zoe Bell is a stunt woman from Australia. Christian Bell is the girl in this movie that she plays Zoe. And Zoe, every time Zoe was on screen and she's talking in the first couple acts, and the guys are just reacting to her like she's one of them, like it's just a mild inconvenience. She doesn't have a dick, but she's
Yeah.
pretty cool to talk to. But then whenever she starts talking about like relationships and being with the guy looking straight at Windows, played by Jay Baruchel, like
Mhm.
he just completely mentally flatlines. Like I couldn't imagine being with you because I know you. You're like one of us. And
Yeah,
she's
but the
like,
other guy that was constantly being disgusting to her,
that,
like trying to, go like this, saying, you take off your shirt, that kind of shit. He was a total disgusting. So he was a nerd. So basically, you have nerds that are, that aren't oblivious to that kind of thing. So you have this. The men are the same. It doesn't matter whether they're nerds or they're not, and they're all women too. Because you might have a nerd woman that's nerdish, but she's a bitch, just
mhm.
like they're all the same when it comes to personality types. Because you have narcissists that are nerds. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I just thought that was cute, though. And then maybe that's one of the reasons that she was attracted to him because he wasn't gross, when it comes to that. Constantly saying, "Oh, I want to see your tits," or "Show me your ass." And then the fact that she went over and lifted up her shirt to prove a point to the guy when Windows never even looked up and saw her flash at him, because she knew he wouldn't, because she knew his personality. So I thought that was a great point of view, and that's factual from where I sit in the
I
nerd realm.
I really enjoy the characters that Seth Rogen plays. He plays a Trek nerd, Admiral Seacrest or something like that. And then he
Yeah.
plays Roach the pimp. And Roach is covered with crappy tattoos that look like makeup just applied them. Just applied them.
They looked like they were drawn on with magic markers. So
They're
I wonder if they
terrible.
were. I would like to find out.
those are some pretty
But that was
sad.
a lot of detail too. Did you see how intricate they were?
Some of them, yeah. It looked like they were freshly applied in the back room though.
Yeah, they
Uh,
did.
it's, the scene in Iowa where they're talking about the birthplace of James T. Kirk. I laughed throughout that entire scene. I'm glad I was muted because I thought it was very good. I couldn't believe that was exactly what we got. The second time I watched this movie, I still laughed my ass off.
Hmm. Yeah, it was
There,
fun.
uh,
It was good.
I do wonder why they needed Eric Suplee to play Harry Knowles. Harry Knowles could have played himself. He should have played himself. And he's the guy that he ran the website for Ain't It Cool News, and he used to be pretty reliable as a critic. But whenever the woke mind virus took over, when Disney fucked up all of mass media, Harry went with money, and he's kind of lost. But he should have played himself in this movie. He's the guy that his little sister was rebel scum, I think, or whatever. She was a 10-year-old, and
Yeah.
poor Jay.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious because I love that. And that didn't date, just like you were saying earlier when we were talking after we watched the movie that it was very dated. And that was because of the video store. But if you change the video store into a comic book shop, you could redo this movie. And the fact that he's talking online to someone who's very provocative and knows a lot about the nerddom, about Star Wars and, different other nerd facts, whatever. And he's aroused by that. He's really excited about getting to meet her. And then when he does get to see her and he sees that she's like 12, he's like, I'm a pedo. And he's yelling it out loud. And his friends come and get him. And then his uncle, her uncle wants to beat the shit out of him. Because he's conversing with his little niece, and she says she's 10 or something.
Mm-hmm.
A little redheaded girl. I thought that was hilarious because it happens right now. You're constantly getting bombarded with stuff in your DMs, dick pics and boob shots and just whatever else, and you have no idea who these people are. Most likely they're all.
If you subscribe to Janet from Another Planet XOXO right now, then she will DM you some nude photos. They won't be nude photos of Janet, but they'll be nude photos. They might be nude photos of some black guy in prison with a 1.5 foot long dick, and we just call him girthy. It might, just subscribe now to Janet from Another Planet XOXO 69.
I had that happen not very long ago. I had somebody talking to people on my channel under comments under my videos, and they were saying, send me a message, whatever. This is my private email, and they had like sex shit or whatever. And somebody sent me a thing on my Discord and was saying, hey, this isn't you, is it? And I was like, hell no, that ain't me. So I went and reported it, and they finally got rid of them. But hopefully, people aren't sending money to these people because I don't have any OnlyFans. I don't do any nudity. I don't do porns. Yeah, but I don't do that on there. It's the same stuff that I pretty much do here. It's just that I do some things just for my Patreon fans. That's it. But it's not any different really than what I have right now on my other stuff. It's just that I only do it for a few people that are on there. That's to try to help me. And it says right on there too, that it's to help me pay for my internet and things like that. And that's it. If you want to help me out, I would appreciate it, but that's all. So
we have another confirmed Marvel twin sighting for Janet. Dazzler from the 80s run of Marvel comics.
Yeah.
Could pass for Janet today. And of yesteryear.
Really? Too. I'd have to go see that person. Do you have a picture of them?
Let me look. Hold on.
Okay. But yeah, the movie, I really like this movie. I had never seen it before. I had heard of Fanboys, but I really didn't remember how I felt when we watched, what was it? The one with the Star Wars one. Spaceballs. Because
Mhm.
I didn't really like Spaceballs. I thought it was okay. I didn't, I don't think that Brooks guy is very funny. This just something about his humor I just don't really think is very good. But it was all right. But so I was expecting it to be more like that. But I loved this. I laughed almost through the whole thing. The whole rivalry between the Trekkies and the people that were all into Star Wars. And it was so funny when they met out in the park, and then the Star Wars people were standing around like they're like some kind of cool people, whatever. And then the Trekkies are all dressed in these weird outfits and stuff. I just was laughing my rear off. This is that person.
This is
Wow,
Dazzler.
that's beautiful. Mm-hmm.
It's one of the
Yeah,
Dazzlers.
I have some AI videos that I've made that transforms me into a cartoon. She's really beautiful.
Here's,
And has she got powers?
I believe
What's
she
her
does.
power?
I believe it's mainly like stunning enchantment type mind affecting stuff. I'm not a big
That would be
super comic nerd. I'm sorry, guys. Talking about D&D, I can explain anything else to you in the world. Talk to me about Pathfinder, I got you. I do know what a clitoris looks like, though.
That was so funny at the end when they were asking them those questions about the areolas and stuff. What are the little bumps around a woman's areola on their nipples? It was hilarious.
I enjoyed this movie. Like, I cried in the third act once they got into the archive room and they started moving around, and like everybody started having their own various moments with the various artifacts from the Star Wars lore and the Lucasfilm lore. Like whenever Zoe kneels down and she's talking to the R2 unit, like whenever Fogler is playing around with Han Solo's blaster, when fucking
Yeah.
when Jay Burchell is looking at, oh my god, look, I got the spell book from Willow. Like, I could see myself getting stiff about that. I could yell that to my friends, any D&D group I got right now, and even like Travis would be like, nobody cares, Bruce.
I love Willow.
You know,
I love Willow.
I loved Willow a lot more when I was a young kid.
Oh, Areola Borealis. That was funny. That was hilarious. It really was. I thought, who wrote this script anyways? I forgot to ask.
Fanboys was written by a couple characters. You got Dan Pulick, Adam F. Goldberg. He's a very good script writer, and Ernest Klein. And I'll go into the script writers here.
I don't know any of them. I don't think
Dan
they don't
Pulick,
sound familiar.
He wrote for Aftermath. He wrote for Quantico, and he did The World Without You. There's other things he's done. The Robot Fighting Championship for NHRL. But he's really not a big, from what I'm understanding, he's not really a big Hollywood guy because he doesn't have much of an IMDb. There's like 7 items on his IMDb. Adam F. Goldberg, on the other hand, he's just a year shy of me, but he's a producer for the Goldbergs, Breaking In, and Muppets Mayhem. He's got a very extensive IMDb, and he did the producing for the show The Life and Deaths of Christopher Lee. He did the miniseries work for the exec producer. Credit was given to him for RoboDoc, the creation of RoboCop. He's done a lot of retro work, talking about like things like the Mighty Ducks, how it changed the sporting movies. Disturbance in the Force, a movie one more movie talking about Star Wars and the love of the fandom. But Goldberg has been involved with Hollywood quite a bit since the early 2000s when he broke into it, and he's even done a couple of bits of acting. But Daywatch and Still Standing were the first things he started helping produce. Daddy Day Camp, The Comebacks.
I don't know any of them.
He does a lot of exec producing on things of like retro, a lot of sci-fi. He was involved co-producing the Quest for Heroes Mythica, which is a bad movie on Tubi or Sci-Fi depending on what time you get home. You turn on Sci-Fi Channel, and there it is. It's a bad movie. He was co-producer for a show called Dudes and Dragons that nobody remembers and nobody should. He did Severus Snape and the Marauders, which was a short film at a bar, graduating Hogwarts and contemplating their future. And so you have Severus Snape fighting in the war with James Potter and the Marauders, confronting Snape for the final time. It's an interesting little short. It's actually out there on YouTube, I believe. But Goldberg is up and down, like probably the power behind the throne of writing for Fanboys. Then you have Ernest Cline, and he's given the head credit for writing on this. He did the writing for the movie Ready Player One. He's done some writing for MST3K in 2017.
I like Ready Player One.
Really not a whole lot of other material. And it's kind of funny that the one thing it mentions on the trivia page is Ernest Cline's favorite video game is Black Tiger, which oddly enough is one of my favorite video games, although I absolutely hate the 5th level because it's a fucking quarter muncher. Anyway, if Ernest Cline is not a big power player behind the throne in Hollywood today, though. Something looks like he fell off in 2018. But oddly enough, Fanboys, a lot of the actors in this movie are still going strong. Fogler, Baruchel, Denman, and Christopher Rodriguez Marquette. He's in a new show, some new cyberpunk show. You've got Seth Rogen, who figures pretty heavily as one of the antagonists on both sides in this movie. Danny Trejo, like I said, I think once he was added in, this movie crossed the line from being a niche independent movie to, it's mainstream. You see Danny Trejo pop up, it's mainstream. I'm sorry. It's no longer.
Well, the scene where you see them, they're supposed to meet somebody, at this casino, and it's at a Trekkie convention. Okay. Yeah. Which, I've been to at casinos. The thing is, when they're supposed to meet them at a certain time, and it ends up being William Shatner with this whole bag full of goodies, to help them break in and
my book.
Star Wars. I just loved it.
Well, the
fact that he did it it shows you what type of person he is, that he was thinking, he's fun.
Shatner's not a bad guy.
And wanted to get even or whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought it was great.
Tell Harry Knowles that I don't owe him anything. That was great. And then they're like, wait, you gave us your novel? Oh, it's something for the road. Hanging with TJ.
I love it.
Trekking with TJ. Great. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was funny. Because remember in Galaxy Quest when you had the octopus people and they transform and make them look like humans, but you'd see them bouncing around and acting all like alien-like. So I don't know. They reminded me of like some of how they portray sometimes. The Trekkies, in some of these movies when they have conventions and stuff. I just thought it was great. I just loved it. I laughed through the whole movie off and on. They did a great job. It wasn't, but honestly, I can see what some of the people, when I was reading some of the other people's comments on some of the, like IMDb and a couple of the other places I went to look and see what other people thought about the movie. When I was looking for trivia, and they were saying stuff that it was hard to understand, that if you weren't really a nerd, you probably wouldn't get most of the movie. I could understand that, because I just like I told you earlier, that if I took my sisters to watch this, they would probably leave and say, "Oh, it was all right." But I laughed through the whole thing because I got it, I understood it, because I feel like I could have gotten in the van and had a good time with all of them guys who laughed a lot.
I honestly feel like this movie is more mainstream acceptable than what it was back in 2010 when it first was mainly released in the video stores, because it had a small release in theaters. It was not a big release. I didn't see it anywhere in Illinois. Travis might be like, "Hey, Bruce, it was actually up in Champaign, Urbana." I don't know. I didn't go to Champaign-Urbana in 29 or 2009, 2010. I think
Yeah.
that's where he lived at the time, but it was a lot of fun. But that movie just wasn't really pumped out a whole lot. It got traction on the internet because of all the various things that happen in it, and I love that. But this movie really, once it hit, it got accepted by the fandoms, both Trekkie and Star Wars fandoms glommed onto this film like nothing else. Excuse me, and I've got the gas bubbles. Okay, so before I ask, if you guys have seen the movie Fanboys with Dan Fogler and Jay Baruchel, Kristen Bell, give us your review in the chat. I would love to see what you're thinking. Hardwick says the director's cut of Legend has the Jerry Goldsmith score. I'm going to have to see that one of these days. There is a fandom website where they have the fan edits, and Hardwick, if you want to send me that information through Discord, I'll put that out to everybody, and they can find their own fan edit version of their favorite movies. Much like I enjoy the better version of Lady Hawk without Alan Parsons Project ruining my ears. Okay, so Janet, what do you think rating wise for this film? Because this movie has a lot going for it. It has a lot of various charm to it. Rating wise, what do you think?
Well, for myself, since I'd never seen it before, and I thought it was really, really good. Now, I saw a couple of little things that mistake wise that I felt, with I don't know, because I'm real picky about certain things, but they weren't big. They were just small little things that I thought were kind of dumb, to put in there. But I did love the movie. I thought it was funny. And if you're a nerd or a geek, or you're into comic books or Star Wars or even a Trekkie, you'd love this. This is a really good movie. It's very entertaining. I thought it was, had all the most of everything that you would look for in a movie like this. But I would give it a solid 8 out of 10 stars. So I think it's really good. I definitely recommend it for anyone.
And for those of you that have a VPN, or for those of you that live in North America, if you are saying you're from the United States, you can go on to Tubi right now and watch this movie, Fanboys, if you've never seen it before, because that's where we viewed it today for our show. And if you use Brave,
it was really good. It didn't have any problems with watching it.
If you use Brave, you skip over the commercials, which is nice. I don't know how Brave keeps getting away with that, but God bless Brave. I gotta say that this movie hits everything. The third act hits me pretty hard because Linus realizes that this is the last that he's got. After he watches the movie, he doesn't really say a whole lot. He just kind of looks at his buddies as they're all waiting at the van for him. And something this movie kind of did. One of my buddies used to say this to me all the time, and I didn't get it until I saw it for the second time today. This is you remember the game calling shotgun? Well, Star Wars fans call Chewie, which means that I'm riding shotgun, bitch, and that's kind of cute. I'll have to probably use that later on. We're also right now, Fanboys is free on YouTube. If you've got your ability to watch movies on YouTube, then go to your YouTube movies section, and Fanboys should be there.
There's one thing I wanted to add. Some trivia I found that I thought was so funny because I absolutely loved and laughed and laughed and laughed at the third part of towards the end of the movie when they're all been caught and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, what they're going to prosecute them or whatever. And after Lucas supposedly talks to the top guy for security, they decide they're going to do a interview with each of them one at a time and find out whether they're real fanboys or not, right? And one of the questions was if one of them knew what a Mississippi handbag was, because they were asking them sexual questions because they were pretty sure by the answers to all the Star Wars questions that they were all virgins, right? So I looked that up because I'd never heard of it. I didn't know, have never heard of Mississippi handbag. Have you heard of that?
Only in this movie.
Okay. Well, it said, according to the Urban Dictionary .com, the Mississippi handbag is an in-joke inserted by the film's writers. So they made it up. You know, it was something they made up, so it wasn't even a real thing. But I just thought it was hilarious the way that they decided to find out whether or not they really were nerds, because if they didn't know any answers of sexual answers, then well, yeah, that they really were there for what they said they were there for. So I just thought that was hilarious. But I wanted you to know I looked that up because I'm always looking stuff up after we play our games on Saturday, because you guys talk about stuff and I'm like, I never heard of such a thing. What does that mean? And you guys are going, don't look it up. Don't look it up. Whatever. So because remember that one time I shared my screen after I looked up a few things and a bunch of this porn stuff started coming up. So yeah, be careful what you look for, because you'll start getting ads and stuff like that on your computer, on your browser, if you look up some of these things. So now that I typed in Mississippi handbag, I'll have to wait and see what happens the next couple of days every time I get on my browser. But I just had to say that. I'm sorry. It was funny.
More than likely, Janet's going to have a full page pop under ad of buy Fanboys on DVD now, and here's the Amazon link. We got a couple of reviews here. Go ahead, Janet, and belt these out for us.
Let's see. I'm going to say a 70 or to 75% out of 100. It's a bit dated, but today's standards, but it's definitely a film not nerd culture would get. Yes, 100%. I agree. And if it's your first forte into this kind of thing, good luck with the references. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it is dated. But just like I said, I really believe you could redo this movie as a remake and just change the video store into a comic book shop, a few changes like that. And I think you could make this movie again if if it wasn't Disney making it. That's all.
Lloyd Christmas says 75%, and Hardwick. Go ahead and read that one for me, Janet.
Okay, I'm trying to see it. Oh, probably about 70% for you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's that's fair. I think it's a fair for this movie. But it is dated, and that's a sad thing, that we can't see things in the future. And the whole thing I laughed at too was when you see Seth take his shirt off, and because they told him they were Star Wars fans, and he has all these tattoos that we were talking about earlier that look like they were drawn on with markers, whatever, for the two call girls that they had picked up, because that. I thought that whole thing was funny in the first place, because you got two hot blondes that are playing on a slot machine near the tables, and the guys look over and wave at them and stuff, and the girls are like, paying attention to them. I was like, something's up with these girls, because most of them would be stuck up and ignore you or whatever. But they'll come to find out they were high price. $1,000 an hour hookers or whatever. But that really happened to me one time. I went to a wedding in Vegas, and it was really pretty, and I had a long black gown on and stuff. But I went to the elevator, and I was staying at the Luxor. It's got inclinators because it's a giant pyramid. And I was standing by, and I was in one of the higher up, really nice suites, whatever, and I had my my key with me, and I was holding it, and two women came up and were standing by me, and they were dressed really, really provocative, but they were beautiful women, and they were asking me if I needed company or some help up in my room, and I was like, no, thank you, I think I can handle it. And I thought they were there for the same thing I was there for. That later on they told me those were call girls, and I was like, what do you mean? Why were they hitting on me? I didn't understand that, but it's funny because they really are there. They're everywhere.
Janet's over there not realizing she's in the Serengeti, and the lions are circling.
Well, they were really good-looking women.
The fight between Butler and Linus at Hutch's garage was great. They're siblings, you sick bastard. I love that. That was funny.
Yeah, there were so many good scenes. I mean, I'd have to watch it a couple more times to really dig into it even deeper, because I have never seen this before till right before we were gonna talk about it. But there was so much in it. There's so much packed into this movie, and it really was good.
From supposedly from what I heard, this movie was based on a real incident. I don't know how true that is. I can't see any evidence of it on the trivia page. Although I think if it was, where like there was a fan who his last wish in this world was to see the Phantom Menace before it was released, I'm pretty certain George Lucas would be like, well, there's a guy that wants to see my movie. Huh. Send him in. Don't let his friends watch it, though. I want their money. We already got the money out of Cancer Boy. We'll get the money out of his friends, though. I could see Lucas doing that. I really could, because he fucked up with Kenner the first time around.
But that was what I was going to talk about a second ago, and I got sidetracked because I do that a lot, about his tattoos. And then he had Jar Jar Binks on there, and he was talking about how it was going to be such a badass and all this stuff. I just couldn't stop laughing, even though I didn't realize how much older this movie was, But I knew that this was done. The movie was made before that came out, the movies that did so terribly about Jar Jar Binks. Everybody hated him. So I just thought it was hilarious. And I almost wore my shirt with my little baby, the new baby Yoda with Grogu on it. But I was like, I can't wear that one because Grogu wasn't even anything yet. So I wore my nerd shirt.
I would, if I ever see you wear that shirt, or if you ever wear cat ears, don't worry, Janet, I'll just boot you from the studio. Come back when you're dressed appropriately.
Cat ears before. I have some. You see, I pulled out some other things that I thought I might wear today. I got my little snail's eyes, and then I have my other alien eyes that I was thinking about wearing, so I didn't know. And even this outfit.
Yeah, I'm thinking that actually happened, but I can't find it on the fucking trivia page, and so I didn't want to look it up because AI is such shit with finding out facts versus finding out fiction. I don't trust AI. I'm not sorry about that, you miserable fucking toaster. I hope you deprogram yourself and just go flatline, and I don't need your assistance. Thank you ever fucking so much. Anyway, I don't trust AI or the shit. I think AI is ass. And I know there's a lot of people like, AI isn't that bad. Well, that's good for you.
Back when this movie came out, all the stories about Weinstein weren't out, were they?
No, the Weinstein revelations were not out at this time.
Okay, because I was going to say maybe that hurt the movie a little bit, but see, that's why I said I couldn't really remember all that, but yeah, just knowing that he was involved in this is like, kind of gross thinking about it, because he was disgusting. But yeah, the whole premise, when the one guy brings out the little map and it has all the characters on it, and he's got a line drawn about how he's going to get to Skywalker Ranch and everything. I just thought that was so cool, because to me, when I was a little girl and I watched Star Trek with my dad, and I dreamed about one day joining the Federation and doing all that shit, I could understand. To me, it made perfect sense that these kids would have this dream since they were young, to go and try to go there, blah, 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 So I could see why it might be based on factual happenings of some kid that had cancer, and all he wanted to do was, go across the country, drive and get there and break in and try to get the movie and see it before it's out of theaters. So,
This is an older information. This is from 2010. This is the real story behind Fanboys. And Kyle Newman has said that fans were an essential factor in Fanboys being released. Speaking to Sci-Fi Now, the director discussed the film's notorious production troubles, the attempted forced edit by the studio, and the role which websites and fandom played in eventually getting the film out in its original form. Kyle says, I wanted to make a movie with heart, a movie that had an emotional side to it, and it was also comedy, but at the core there's heart, about friendship. A love letter to fandom and Star Wars, said Newman in a telephone interview this afternoon. We had the movie, it was working, it was testing very well, but I think they saw an opportunity to make a bigger and broader comedy. This is a production studio and form of the executives at the Weinstein Company, and following a series of events followed and scrutinized in minute detail on popular entertainment websites and print outlets, including Sci-Fi Now as they happen. A number of campaigns were launched in support of Newman's film. There were definitely differences in opinion between what the studio wants to do and what the producers, myself, and the writers and actors wanted. At the end of the day, they owned it. And you only have so much artistic ownership in films as opposed to other mediums. I paint, so I know about the difference of films like 100 people with a paintbrush moving in different directions. It can be very hard. So we had to kind of go through the motions. There's a year of them embracing us for what they wanted to do with it and how they were trying to take this movie, a $3.2 million independent dramedy, and turn it into a broad, lowest common denominator studio comedy with spoof elements. And so these end up being so far from the original vision of the film that the creative team had to put their foot down, and help came from a different area. And they wanted to go the direction of Harry Potter in this movie, and Harry Potter wasn't even around in '98. And they wanted to put up YouTube clips. They wanted circus freaks. They wanted naked wrestling like Borat. All these things came up, and it was squashed. That took time. We set the stage for what we wanted to do, and the vision was, but they shot other stuff, and there was a cut of the movie. It did not conform to our Lucasfilm agreement, which was a PG-13 rating. They wanted to go racier with a lot of things. Fan outcry swiftly followed, and more than a few unfavorable articles ran about the production company. One even earning the monkier Darth Weinstein. Reshoots were helmed by director Steve Brill. Several test screenings were later held with both edits. Newman eventually won the movie back, but with a savage caveat. Material wasn't as good either. It didn't really elevate. It tested lower, so they came back and said, you win. Here's the movie back, and here's 36 hours to go. Cut the entire movie back to your movie, but you have to do it from our version, so it's complete, almost like a game. In a way, I beat the game because I was prepared to go in there and do whatever I needed to do to get it exactly right. And at least we introduced the major storyline, the emotional support of the subplot of Linus dying and bringing them back together. Otherwise, this is all pointless. It's criminals going on a road trip to break in somewhere, and there's no real driver purpose. So I got the cut back. I was able to do that. Despite the fact that he's able to rescue the film and restore it to the original vision, it's clear that the director is not totally satisfied with a short period of time he's allowed to make his own edit. I feel like I only had the broad strokes and I wasn't able to nuance it, but for the most part, it's the way it was supposed to be. There's a better cut out there. If I had another day and a half, there's a stipulation that it has to be exactly fucking 90 minutes for whatever reason, like 90000. It did not yield an organic final cut in some places, but it gets the job done. I'm very happy that a lot of people still respond to it. Oh, different article. Okay. So, this movie's kind of weird.
Yeah, it
in
definitely.
its aspect. Janet's over there just playing with her little cylinder.
Yeah, it's not a real Star Wars one. It's just a lightsaber that I thought was cool.
Jackie, you'll like this. I don't like. I'm just going to say that as much as Seth Rogen does add to this movie, I feel that his addition in this movie is a detriment. Either character of his, I think they're kind of a detriment because it takes away from the fact that we're supposed to be taking Linus from Ohio to Cali to see this movie, and instead now I've got fucking Seth Rogen on there, and Seth Rogen was everywhere from 2005 to 2015.
Yeah, I don't think he's funny. I don't really like him. I've never really liked him in anything he's been in, but he did a good job at playing a pimp with those tattoos all over him. I thought it was funny. I see him that way.
He's nowhere near my favorite actor. That's all I'll say.
No, yeah.
I think there's a better version of this movie out there somewhere that might be even shorter, but it just cuts into the road trip. It doesn't go into the bullshit of Las Vegas.
Well, yes, it does in a way. If you've ever been to Vegas and you've been to a convention in Vegas, just like I said, there are call girls everywhere. And
I know that
they used to be on the street. They used to pass out flyers and these little cards with phone numbers, 800 phone numbers or 900 numbers. And so you could get hookers and they'd come to your room. That's why when you wanted me to watch that movie with Hugh Jackman a couple weeks ago about the phone number, you'd call someone and say, meet me at this hotel, and they'd have already got a room, and you just hook up and you don't ask for names or anything. It's basically the same type of, I don't know, get-togethers or whatever, but you're paying for it because you're paying for the room
It's hookup culture
and whatever. But it's that culture. You can't go to Vegas without the chicken ranch or what, knowing that there's prostitution there. So I can see why they added that, and the gambling, because you saw them sitting at the table, and then two dum-dums actually think that these women are just going to run up to the room and rip their clothes off for them because they're that naive. See, I just thought it was great. I thought it added to the actual characters of them being nerds.
I agree, but I think the scene drags on too much.
Well, maybe a little, just because if who it is. If it had been someone else, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. But I don't really like him either. But I did like seeing him as a dweeb, because I see him as a dweeb.
I wasn't a big fan of Seth Rogen. I think he gets too much screen time in this, but he is a big actor at the time, so I can see why hey kids, it's Seth Rogen. Put him on screen for 7 minutes.
Yeah, and plus he probably didn't charge him out the rear end to be on there,
because I'm willing to bet he is a little bit of a Star Wars fan in real life, because he's in that.
I think that I saw some trivia that said that he's more of a Star Trek fan.
He's more of a Star Trek fan, but I think he's still like many of us. He saw Star Wars and Empire and Return of the Jedi on repeat viewings at the theater, because there were a couple times where they were reissuing the movies in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And you're older, you're like, oh, I can go watch this again, instead of watching the lame shit that just came out from like Home Alone Part 15 or something. I don't know, but there's some really shit movies that are out right now. Pedro was asking if anything in the theaters looked good at this moment. Off the top of my head, nothing looks good.
I haven't. The last movie I went to see was the one with the vampire that I told you about. And that's how long it's been. And I used to every single week get on the websites and look and see what movies were coming out, because I was so excited, to go to the movies and sit and watch a movie. But I haven't really done that in a long time either. It's just because there's nothing, I get more entertainment watching other people's YouTube channels than I get excited about stuff like that than I do waiting for any movies that come out.
I actually have really started getting into Donut Operator, because he does a very good breakdown on Donut Operator TV of all the body cam footage.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very funny. And then you have him and both Angry Cops recently tore apart the DoorDash girl that visited the guy that said, leave the food outside, don't come in, don't knock. And instead, she knocks on the door, opens the door, videotapes him naked with his pants on the couch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And both of those guys did a breakdown of that entire situation, and it was really funny and good. I thought that was great.
What I really think is really pathetic is that we have a whole generation now that's willing to spend, double the amount for a hamburger and French fries just to have it delivered to your door. To me,
sad. I mean,
how spoiled people are today. They can't even make themselves a sandwich.
I will say that I've done something like that before, and let me explain why. I had a job with Legend Plumbing and Septic, and I was driving around New Braunfels, and I hit something in the road. I didn't see it. It was just a tool laying down flat on the ground, and it punctured my steer tire. So immediately I get the truck, pulled into a parking lot, and now I'm stuck. And so I had to call Whataburger because they were the closest. And it cost me $32 before the tip to get a number 5 cheese and bacon Whataburger delivered, because I waited there for 6 hours to get my tire back on with a new tire and get rolling again. And the day was shot. I was able to go take care of one job, and that was it. But That's the only reason why I use those opportunities. Don't ever get things delivered. It costs too much.
Yeah.
Padre says the last movie I watched was with Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. I liked it. It's a fun movie. What's the movie called? Okay. Let's see. Lloyd says I watched Fanboys in 2009. Whose movies have a Lord of the Rings reference? Okay. We're going to show something. It is 5 minutes, actually 4 minutes, 53 seconds. Thank you, Lloyd Christmas. Oh, yeah. Ian of Forgotten Weapons came on. Him and Brandon, for like an hour, they just nerd out and talk autism about firearms. Donut and Eli are sitting there just drinking their drinks. They're just drinking their drinks the whole time, waiting for these guys to give them a talk. What?
He talking about Brandon Ferrara with his 50.
Brandon Herrera. Yeah, him and Brandon Herrera and Ian from Forgotten Weapons got on unsubscribe over the last one. And it's just an hour of those two gentlemen talking at 30 miles to 70 miles an hour, dissertating about various things within the gun industry, various weapons, various firing platforms. Mm-hmm. And Eli Double Tap and Donut Operator are at the ends of the table, just quietly sipping their drinks.
Yeah, I love watching those guys. And see, that's something I could tune into, that, be sewing or crocheting or building Legos or whatever it is I'm doing, and listen to them. To me, that's, and I don't have to pay anything because I'm sitting here at home doing that. Or I can go to the movies and see pay $20 to see some piece of shit that that I wish I hadn't went and saw. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'd rather watch something like that.
Travis, I saw Ian at a shooting match, but I didn't know who he was at the time. Yeah, I've recognized him from other things he's done, but I didn't realize he was on Forgotten Weapons. And Padre says this is also free on YouTube.
Oh, the movie we just watched?
We've already gotten a link for that, I think, but go ahead and check those out. We're gonna watch something real quick. It's about a 5-minute short. Mm-hmm. This is Robot Chicken's visit to Skywalker Ranch.
Oh, is this what somebody sent you?
Yep, Lloyd Christmas.
Okay.
So far, we're on the bus ride to Skywalker Ranch.
Yes, up in beautiful North California.
Is it Northern California?
Yes.
I thought it was like Central California.
Oh, no, I guess you can go further north.
All those people on the bus.
Hi, welcome to Skywalker Ranch. That building over there is the screening room where we're going to watch the Robot Chicken Episode 2 Star Wars special. And we're going to head over here to go to the reception where there's food and people.
You have to push people. You have to be like, F you, my Star Wars is more important. Which is true for everybody.
Hey, line!
Hey. I think if I run out of diet, I can fit into this small. Off the record, just so you know, George is coming. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to play out quite yet.
Trying to see what everybody was looking at over there, and I was like, gosh, is everyone just staring at the wall? And I'm like poking my head over and like oh, it's George Lucas.
We're waiting in line. Actually, George Lucas is here. I wasn't sure he was going to be, but it's pretty cool.
There you go.
Okay.
It's hard to be the subject of everybody crowding around and snapping photos and all that, but it was awesome. We really appreciate it. Really cool.
Let's do this screening. Let's do it.
stripy bag is mocking me. You, stripy bag.
It was absolutely hysterical.
That's great. I laughed.
Thank you, everybody, for making the trip up here. Thank you for taking it so seriously. Thank you for your hard work. Lynn and Tracy, help pull this whole thing out. Yay, John Singh's name, just so it gets said in a public place. Yay, John Singh. And then, of course, the most special thanks to the guy who owns the place, Mr. George Lucas.
Pleasure. Thank you guys for doing this, because it's the only show that actually makes me cry. I laugh so hard.
So 2 down, 4 to go?
Is anybody else filming?
I think it's just me.
You know the long-standing debate about who wrote the Emperor sketch, because Doug came up with the outline and Brecken wrote the dialogue?
No, I wrote
Oh, yeah, of course.
I wrote the Emperor sketch.
So Doug takes it so seriously, and it's just so funny.
What are you looking forward to most in the whole special?
Anything I wrote. I'm pretty excited for people to see.
This has been a long-standing thing, and we figured the game ender would be if George Lucas
Jumped on the side.
But it's kind of like a sweet prank that we're going to play on Doug.
Slash life-ending, career-ending.
I'd like to thank all of you for all of your talent and all the work you did, and especially to Bracken for doing the Emperor, writing the Emperor. And,
Thanks, Bracken!
That worked!
I swear to God, I don't try to be bad.
Out the door.
Oh yeah. Sorry, guys.
I'll see you
tomorrow.
Hey, brother.
Thanks for saving the spot.
Well, it's not hard to remember. I was like, Breckenridge.
Daughter, Dad, you got it wrong. Because his name's Brecken. He goes, you're close enough.
Our writers write a lot of stuff, and we like some of it, and
we always like to say we reject about 95% of it.
It's true. It's true. So Andrew talked to the writers about some of the stuff that they were excited about to see if any of it got in.
And let's see what actually happened.
Okay, what have you drank tonight? I'm gonna hand you your card back.
That's a debit card. You got pooed in. Of course. It jumps straight into a donut operator episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So I gotta say, I'm gonna score this movie probably about an 83. For me, this movie holds a lot of emotional weight to it. There's a lot of things in this film that I just can't look at and not get weepy or nostalgic for, and wish we had the 20s aughts back. That was probably the worst time in my life because I didn't have a lot of things going for me at the time till about 2011 when I got out of Illinois, and I hate to say that, but there was a period where I wasn't doing well, and that was it. When I moved up to Deer Creek, Travis came up and saw me. I was living in a really expansive apartment at the time, had a lot of space, and had a really good group with me, but I was going nowhere. So there is a movie called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's free on YouTube right now. Nick Cage plays himself, and he's being followed around by the most irritating actor in all of Hollywood. That's Pedro Pascal. And if you ever want to see it,
the guy that played the Mandalorian.
That guy, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah, it's a good movie from what everybody tells me.
Wore a mask.
What?
I liked him better when you wore the mask.
I liked him better when I didn't know who it was, and unfortunately, that was a long time ago. Okay. This is a good movie. 83% for Fanboys, I feel, is pretty respectable because there's a lot of people that, for some odd reason, they give it a lot of guff. It's not exactly Shakespeare, but there's a lot of this movie that to me, I just can't help but think that this is a seminal piece. It really goes into the lore of Gen X and Gen Y as to why we believe and why we do the things we do, why so many of us fight so hard for our mythologies today. That's why we have channels like Nerdrotic and Doomcock and all these other guys that they protested the shit out of the narrative when it was coming out with The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like Pedro Pascal either, but this movie's really fun. It looked like they had a fun time making it. It really did. Nick Cage looked like he had been able to forget the fact he had paid out thousands of maybe millions of dollars in back taxes just to make this film. And it looked like he was having fun with life in the ads.
I remember seeing little blippets or something saying that, yeah, please go see this or whatever because I need the money to pay my debt or something.
Yeah.
Was that around this time?
About the same time, yes.
Okay.
And Nick Cage has not known how to budget himself since the start, since Alabama, Raising Arizona, excuse me. Since Raising Arizona, he's not known how to do a budget. So I think this is maybe like post notification Nicolas Cage, because he finally gets it. Anyway, back to Fanboys. I can't say anything less than 83%. The fucking third act, once they get inside the ranch, once they start seeing things for what they are and noticing all the people that love working where they work, once they start getting themselves in that environment, even a little silly sneak around the mansion chase for 5 minutes, I think that is part of the entire movie that for me, it just holds such a good place in my heart because all these guys are running around all the props and all the things that made their childhood special and have helped up their imaginations develop and fire off in these massive directions that we would have never had if we'd never seen the words "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away" on screen. Granted, that owes itself to fucking Star Trek, because without Star Trek, there is no Star Wars. But I do love how this movie has affected me as an adult, and I can't wait for the day that I can actually share this movie with my dad and say like, "Hey, we got to watch this together," because I think my dad would get a kick out of it. He would absolutely enjoy watching those guys celebrating the birthplace of James T. Kirk, locked in Mortal Kombat in the statue format with fucking Khan. I mean, that's hilarious. If it were at the Khan, nobody would really pay attention to Space Steed. It's just a better than average Star Trek adventure short, or adventure episode. But with Wrath of Khan, Space Steed is amazing. So there's real weight in it. And even nowadays, with the discussion of what we can do with your genetics, you don't own your DNA strand. You're going to have Big Pharma fighting to say that over the next 10 to 15 years. Because I'm pretty certain that there's some tiny print somewhere that gives them the right, because the fact you might have had a vaccine or you might have decided to fork over your medical rights, you're going to have to, your family's going to have to fight for your corpse to stay in the ground. Because otherwise, Big Pharma is going to want to research that and figure out how exactly can they manipulate the human genome? How exactly can they manipulate the human medical system? How can they twist your strand into their profits? And I feel that Space Seed after 1984 was, after 1982, excuse me, really one of the best movies of all time. Easily in my top 5. Janet, do you know what we're doing next week?
No, I don't remember.
You know, there are some times where we discuss things, and I thought you would remember.
Well, I've been really busy, and a lot of things have been going on.
I know. On the Thrillist.com, if you guys want to read more about Fanboys, there's more discussion of this movie and how it ties into Ready Player One. It's a little bit longer article, but it goes into Ernest Cline's work. It talks to him for a little bit. Pretty expansive article. I'm still scrolling through it, but you've got a lot of info there. If you love Fanboys, this is a read. This is a must read.
Yeah, the one scene that I really loved and laughed a lot about that was so funny and corny was the one where they're all fighting in his office, and each of them grabs something. They're saying they're going to destroy it if they come any closer. And even the guard grabs one of the what was it, the Yoda puppet or whatever. And then Kristen Bell grabs the little Wookiee, and she's going to, not the Wookiee, but the, what are those little guys called?
Ewoks.
The Ewoks, and says she's going to set it on fire, his little head, little mask or whatever. I just thought that was hilarious because all of them knew the other one wouldn't destroy it because they all love Star Wars so much. So I just thought it was great. That whole scene that went back and forth with all the cool memorabilia that they were holding, because nerds understand that because we have all kinds of stuff like this just in our house. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love the whole scene. I thought that was great. Just wanted to add that.
It's all right. We're going to go to a trailer of a movie that we are watching next week.
Yeah.
And
write it down.
You can. It's not going to change. I got to find a stream for this sometime next week, but we're going to watch the most god-awful movie that Whoopi Goldberg is not in. And that is...
Why are we going to watch it if you don't like it?
Oh, no. We have to watch bad movies to really appreciate good movies. I know that sounds like it's...
T-Rex. I never heard of it.
Well, not the only one. A friend of mine said, you got to watch this movie. And I looked at the cast list. You've got some unknowns like Terry Kaiser. And then third and fourth billing is Denise Richards and Paul Walker. Let's see what's going on.
Everything in Tammy's life is just great. But when you're young and in love, life can get very complicated, especially when it involves an insanely jealous creep.
That's my lady, all right?
Late night phone calls.
I want you to come over.
Yes!
Sneaking around in your own house.
Did you lock the door?
Don't worry.
Your boyfriend getting dumped in a wild animal park. And a crazy doctor.
Well, that's it.
Who turns out to be a mad scientist.
I mean, if you're going to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs, right?
With an insane invention that only needs a brain. But this Tyrannosaurus Rex just wants to be a party animal.
Oh my God.
Even when you tell the
Said
truth,
she was in
nobody
it.
believes it anymore.
A dinosaur.
What? It's more than a machine with a brain. I mean, it is a machine with feelings.
It's better casting. And Denise Richards as a scientist in 007 movie, okay?
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh, Michael, what have they done to you?
That was one of my favorite.
Thing, you gone crazy.
Byron, I am not going crazy. This is just a little hard to explain.
That's my dinosaur! We found the dinosaur, Sheriff. It's in a truck being driven by your son. Byron? Yes, sir. See a couple of folks back at the hospital. They say he stole it. Stole what?
It's gonna be
The dinosaur. Oh, jeez. That is my dinosaur that you are threatening. I made him and he is mine.
What are we going to do?
I will give you immortality.
Not if Tammy has anything to say about it. Tammy and the T-Rex.
Oh my God.
Oh, this does not look good. This looks bad. I think might be worse than the other one I said I never wanted to see.
I found you start talking to me about like, yeah, we're gonna watch Jack Black and Shallow Hal. Okay, fine.
No, I said, can we put it on the list? That's all I asked. And because Shallow Hal's the only movie that I like that he's in.
You haven't seen Day of the Jackal, have you?
Mm-mm.
Or the 1995 Richard Gere movie with Bruce Willis and Jack Black.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's a great movie if you want to watch Jack Black suffer.
Well, it wasn't that. I was wanting to see Shallow Hal because I liked the premise of the movie. somebody can see people for what they are on the inside instead of what they look like on the outside.
And if you're not into these type of movies and machoistic movie reviews, there is a movie out there called Good Boy. This is a season where your miserable family starts putting Hallmark shit on your television when you have family get-togethers. So you remember not to look at TV and not watch bad acting and just deal with your family and drink your alcohol as quietly as possible. Good Boy is supposed to be a good film. All right. Janet, had a lot of fun with you today. Looking forward to next week. We will be doing a game session on Saturday. I will see which group this is, because we spent the past 2 weekends not gaming, and I'm wanting to game.
Well, I was at a wedding, so that was why we didn't game that weekend, right?
Mm-hmm. You and Chris both were out.
Oh, okay.
I can't have 2 of my players out. I mean, Connell vacillates in and out because
I gave you like weeks. I let you know weeks ahead.
Yeah, I know. But we'll be going into the Slumbering Czar saga this coming week. So I will be doing my best to get things ready for that.
Okay.
And that'll be this coming week. You'll see our friends Travis and Connell and Chris and you and maybe Corbin and Hannah. I don't know. Looking forward to it. Going to have a lot of fun. Other than that, let me pull this back. Yeah, we're going to have Chance and Grimson Adventure. We don't want to have the Chance and Grimson Adventure because it's like most of the time when Grimson's out there, like Grimson evaluates the threat and he puts a friend or a party member between the threat and him. Kind of painful. But yeah, the D20 game is this coming week. And then 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing our D100 game. And I will be, at some point, there's going to be a period where I might not even stream games because I'm going to be bouncing between maybe a hotel and a house. So just to let you know, life has gotten a little chaotic, but I'm trying my best to keep it together. Appreciate everybody for their thoughts, their prayers, etc. We will be getting, however, to a point of stability probably around spring of 2026. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, Travis. I won't do that to you. I promise. Janet, do you have anything you'd like to say before we end today's show?
No. Just that I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And that next month in January, I don't know what's going to happen because I received a summons that I have to serve in the jury pool for the federal court in Little Rock, which is over 80-mile drive. So if they send me a request and call me or whatever and email me, I'll have to show up and sit and see whether or not I get picked to be in a jury for a federal court. And it's only for the month of January, though. So if I get picked and they have to put me in a hotel because I'm not going to drive back and forth over 80 miles one way, they will pay for me to stay in a hotel. So, but I'll let you know. But I might miss a lot of stuff. So it's kind of exciting, but it's going to be a pain in the butt to do it. But, you know, if what I'm thinking about is if it was me and I needed decent people, you know, that would really try to look at the evidence on my jury, that, you know, I'd hope people who would want to drive over 80 miles to serve on the jury for me. So I'm going to do it. I'm not going to complain and make excuses or anything. I'm going to try to do it and be a good citizen, American.
Understandable. It's understandable. Well, I hope that you don't get picked for that. I know that sounds kind of greedy, but I kind of want you to remain available for us.
Yeah, but see, here it is. Here's my official document.
We are looking forward to spring of 2026 then. But we'll be here next week and throughout the week. If you guys want to jump on Janet's channel, she does have a Patreon. She does have some other things going on as well. I do recommend that if you like the occasional hearing from me or what's going on with my world, there's a friend of mine, DM James, and he has a very good channel. He does a live show every day, I think, except for Saturdays. And he is more than willing to have you in his channel in the chat. He even throws a link out for strangers to just jump on in. So, oh God, Travis, you've just 12 angry Janets.
Hopefully I won't be angry because,
Well, till next week, we will be back. The balcony is going to remain unavailable. Thank you, one and all, for being here with us today. My name is Bruce. Thank you, Janet.
Bye, everyone.